All right, the French and British in Ohio. By the mid-1700s, Native Americans, British, and French each claimed land in the Ohio River and Lake Erie. In 1715, Maryland colonist Christopher Geist traveled through the area. A Native American asked if Geist knew that the French claimed all the land on one side of the river of Ohio and the English on the other side. What had happened to the Native Americans' land? The big picture. All right, so let's go through over here on this side really quick. Let's go through all the vocabulary. Words that we're going to hit are colony, survey, ally, the French and Indian War, treaty, frontier, proclamation, and squatter. People we're going to talk about are LaSalle, Celeron de Blainville, Christopher Geist, we just talked about him, George Croghan, George Washington, Pontiac, Henry Bouquet, and Logan. European interest in North America goes back to Christopher Columbus's voyage of 1492. Asian goods, such as silk and spices, were worth a lot of money in Europe. Columbus was one of many explorers searching for a new route to Asia. Instead of Asia, Columbus reached the North American continent. Then, French, British, and Spanish explorers turned their attention on North America. You read in the last lesson that the arrival of the Europeans gradually pushed the historic Indians into the Ohio area. Before long, people from France and Great Britain turned their attention to the Ohio country. The Ohio country includes the land that later became our state. It also includes part of what is now Indiana, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. The French claim. The first French claim in North America came in 1535. Jacques Cartier explored the mouth of the St. Lawrence River. He claimed the land along the river for the French king. By the late 1600s, the French had built many settlements in eastern Canada. They also set about exploring areas farther west. They claimed every region they passed through for their king. Guys, their lands in North America were called New France. So take a look. Everything in yellow, New France. The Ohio country is in pink. And then really the gray area would be the 13 colonies, right? LaSalle finds the Ohio River. Among the lands that interested the French was the Ohio country. René Robert Cavelier, Sieur de LaSalle, or LaSalle for short, ran a trading post in New France. Native Americans' customers told him about a great river to the south. LaSalle set out from Canada in 1669 to find that river. Look at the map below to see the route LaSalle traveled. He named the river La Belle Rivière, a French phrase meaning beautiful river. He claimed the whole river basin, all the land drained by the Ohio River, for France. LaSalle's report of the area brought many trappers and traders to the Ohio country. So you can see his travel there from Montreal and down to the Ohio River. The British claim. Great Britain was not idle while the French were settling New France. From 1607 to 1733, the British established 13 colonies in the east along the Atlantic Ocean. A colony is a place ruled by a distant country. Although most of the colonists stayed near the east coast, some crossed the Appalachian Mountains. They came to take part in the fur trade. Some also came to farm the land. A warning to the British. The presence of British traders worried the French. They sent Celeron de Blainville to the Ohio country in 1749. Celeron's job was to make clear France's claim and to get the British to leave. Celeron held a great ceremony at the mouth of each major river. Then he buried a lead plate that said the Ohio country belonged to France. The warning ignored. Celeron could not stop the British. They believed the Ohio country belonged to them. After all, when the colonies were first settled, the British king had claimed all the land from sea to sea. In 1750, Christopher Geist arrived in the Ohio country. A group of British business people wanted Geist to survey or measure the land. They planned to sell the land in the Ohio country to colonists. Geist visited many Native American villages. This included Pickawillany, a Miami village in western Ohio. At Pickawillany, the Miami traded with both the French and the British. At another trading post, Geist met George Croghan. Croghan ran the largest British trading businesses in the Ohio country. The road to war. The French decided they'd had enough. In 1752, they attacked Pickawillany. French soldiers rounded up all British traders there and forced them to leave. Then, the French began building a chain of forts along the eastern border of the Ohio country. They hoped to keep more British from moving west into Ohio. The forts alone could not keep the British out of Ohio. In 1753, Robert Dinwiddie, British governor of Virginia, wrote to a French military leader in Ohio. Dinwiddie declared, "Sir, the country located on the Ohio River is so obviously the property of the British king that I am both surprised and hurt to hearing that a band of French troops is building fortresses on this river." The French military leader politely replied, "Whatever your instructions may be, I also have mine, which are to remain here by orders of my general." The reply angered Dinwiddie. In 1754, he ordered troops toward Pittsburgh to protect a small British trading post there. Answer that. Their leader was a 22-year-old Virginian named George Washington. The French took over the post before Washington's troops arrived. They built Fort Duquesne on the site. Located at the source of the Ohio River, Fort Duquesne was important to the control of the Ohio country. The French and Indian War. At Fort Duquesne, Washington's troops fought a brief battle with French soldiers. Washington retreated, expecting the French to attack again. He told his men to quickly build a fort. Because the fort was necessary for protection, Washington named it Fort Necessary. Find the fort on the map on page 91. Unfortunately, the fort was built too quickly. The finished product was not strong enough to hold off the French and their Indian allies. An ally is a person or country that joins with one another for a common purpose. Native Americans believed that they could hold on to their Ohio lands if they kept the British out. That is because the British wanted to settle on land, forcing Native Americans out. The French were mainly interested in building trade in the Ohio country. Together, Native Americans and French defeated Washington and his troops. The French and Indian War had begun. While the French and British fought in the North America, they also fought in Europe. The war there is remembered as the 7 Years' War. The British gained control. In 1758, British once again led a force to Fort Duquesne. They had recently won a battle against the French on Lake Ontario. Since French defeat kept supplies from reaching Fort Duquesne, the French abandoned the fort and buried it into the ground. The British won control of the area without firing a shot. Then they built a new fort on the spot and they called it Fort Pitt. Within a year, many other important French forts had fallen to the British, including Quebec and Canada. Quebec was the center of government for New France. When it fell, the French lost all hope of victory. After years of fighting, French and British leaders met in 1763 to sign a peace treaty to end the war. A treaty is an agreement between two countries. In the Treaty of Paris, the French agreed to give all their land in North America to the British. This included all of Canada as well as their land east of the Mississippi River. The British finally controlled the Ohio country. Pontiac's War. Although the French and Indian War was over, Native Americans weren't ready to accept British control of the Ohio country. In 1763, an Ottawa leader named Pontiac began a war against the British. Pontiac persuaded some of the Mingo, Miami, Delaware, and Shawnee to join him. His words to them show his anger. It is important for us, my brothers, that we exterminate, wipe out from our lands this nation, which seeks only to destroy us. With his forces strengthened, Pontiac attacked British forts in the Ohio country. The British sent Henry Bouquet and his soldiers to protect the forts. Finally, the Native Americans gave up. There they are, Fort Duquesne and Fort Necessary. A new proclamation. The British government wanted to keep peace with the Native Americans. They wanted to protect their fur trade. Peace would also cut down the cost of running an army. British leaders thought that they could keep the peace by keeping colonists from moving to the Ohio frontier. A frontier is the term Europeans used to describe an area near the edge of their settlements. So in 1763, British made a proclamation or a law that set up the Appalachian Mountains as a dividing line. American colonists were no longer allowed to move west of the mountains. The colonists weren't happy when the government told them they couldn't move. Many of them moved anyway. These people were called squatters. They settled on the land without permission and without paying for it. Soon, thousands of squatters on the Ohio frontier. The Native Americans had been pushed off their lands before. They saw the danger as more and more squatters moved in. Angry Native Americans made raids against the squatters. The squatters often fought back. A trust betrayed. Among all the tales of horror from this period of time, one stands out. It involved a Mingo leader named Chagahoot, who was also called Logan. Logan and the colonists got along well. This changed in 1774 when some settlers murdered a group of unarmed Native Americans. Among the group were members of Logan's family. Afterwards, Logan explained that he felt the British and the colonists had betrayed him or turned against him. He spoke of this in a statement now called Logans Lament. A lament is a cry of sorrow. What do you think of Logan's lament when he said, "Who is there to mourn?" For Logan, no one. Why it matters. Logan, although the British won control of the Ohio country from the French, land conflicts continued between Native Americans and British settlers. Other conflicts arose between Great Britain and its American colonies that would bring them to war. Once again, the Native Americans would be caught in the middle of the fight. All right. There you have it.